Let's see how that sounds. Perfect. So, no, you guys can type in YouTube chat or Discord. I'll be checking both, so wherever you guys happen to type. Because this is public, so if other people who aren't in the chat end up joining and talking, they'll probably be talking in the YouTube chat. But if you guys type in Discord, I'll probably notice it. But I'm mainly going to run through my list stuff at first, and then I'll take some tickers at the end or something. But I'm going to give it a couple minutes, let people join in, wait till it's like right at 6. I like to start it a couple minutes before, just to give people a chance. But type wherever's comfortable. And yeah, if you guys are in here early, please leave a like on the stream. It does help out a lot. We didn't do the last week's stream just because we were kind of thinking not a lot of people would even see the stream live just because it was Easter. So we're just letting that one pass. But the weekend before that, you definitely should check out that stream, see how we do things. And if you aren't familiar with the TA routine or the BB system or anything I'm about to mention in this stream, please go to the playlist of my channel. We have playlists for literally everything. We have a course. If you guys want to come get that, you can sign up and get it. You can join in the chat to get it. You can also see tons of different strategies and channels and just breakdowns of many, many, many things that we have. And I'll flash those off during the stream as well, but just giving everyone a chance to join in here right before 6. So yeah, leave a thumbs up if you can. Would help out a lot. But I'm going to go ahead and start. It's pretty much 6 as it is. And you can see here, I'm not going to clear this and start over, but you can see just the effectiveness of our levels here, watching that pre-market high with our bigger time frame levels. You can see we really kind of just had to watch 2 different areas on Friday. It seems like everybody was freaking out. But in reality, let's review everything. What even happened last week? So first off, that's what I like to do is spy in the Qs. You can see I'm starting with the Qs right now. Tech, going to be your most popular sector, your heaviest sector. And I'm going to go from the base of this move. This is the lowest close right here that price ever had. And I'm going to go up to the meat of the close, meat of the high. Just marking the highest close that the Qs had over the past few weeks in this recent move here. So you can see we ended up breaking the control point and the golden pocket. Going to the daily time frame, you can see it a little bit more clear. And SPY is going to be kind of in the same case. We ended up breaking these just very simple levels again. We're not really looking for anything big in particular. We're just pointing out the quick, simple levels here. And you can see it ended up breaking down there. Now we look like we're going to either go down here and catch some bigger support, make a higher low from here, or we're going to continue lower from this base support. If this breaks, definitely don't look to buy the dip. Definitely wait to see how far down we end up going. But overall, we are definitely in the red territory, and we have been for some time. So let's clear this, though, and let's start over, and let's get it going together. So first off, what I like to do is go to the daily time frame, just kind of give myself a view of everything, really, because everyone goes straight to just wanting to be bearish just because they see really big red candles. Little do you see, though, there is some possibility for some sort of inverse head and shoulders here. And I'm not saying this is high probability. I'm just saying there is still chance of it. We haven't broken any new low yet, so you still have this range going for us. So make sure to keep watch on this especially. But we're going to go through all of that, of course. But let's go to the 4-hour. Really big thing I want to start with is that golden pocket and that control point. I want to grab it from the same area you saw me grab it from, but we're going to leave it on the chart this time. So let's go from the 414.90s, the farthest we had close to the low, to the highest high, highest close. You can see price, kind of a bear flag through both of those, nothing really special. And of course, there's some really awesome levels we can grab here. And 100 different methods you can grab them, but recently I've just been kind of making it easier on myself. I extend this to the left. I go to the far of my chart, and I want to focus on the left here. What's really going on over here? There's so many different levels here. What do you start with? And what me and my chat like to start with is the far left. We like to start with what's first. You know, and first off, if you really want to make things easier with you, you don't have to continue to mark every single level. You really can give yourself the halfway point. But overall, I'm going to make it easier on myself. I'm going to just start with what we have here. So let's mark the first close we had after that bounce of that low. It's about 425.50. If you go back to the right of the chart, you'll see that price is kind of underneath that. We fought it and kind of broke under. So, you know, so we are well under that level, looking like we want to go down to the 415s if you're going just off that information. But again, let's auto zoom back out and let's go to the far left of that chart. I'm going to extend that one level that we have. And let's get a couple important levels here from this far left side. So we got one about here. I like to mark from the low. You got a pretty good resistance here. And again, what I'm focused on are the highs, the close. I'm going from left to right. So I see we have a close here. I see we have another one here that was pushed up. So I'm going to keep it like that. Zoom back in again. I keep zooming back out pretty far. And continue on like that. And so, yes, your chart will be messy. A lot of people are going to say, well, my chart's really hard to read now. Yeah, of course, the bigger time frame is going to be. But if you go back down to the 5 minute, where we're most likely going to be trading, you're actually going to be given everything you need, just like you guys saw at the beginning of the stream where we were looking at the cues and price was bouncing up and down with our levels. Again, we weren't really having to work too hard on what to look for. It was just mainly being patient on entry and exit because of the craziness going on. But overall, the levels themselves, you should have full confidence in. So overall, you guys can see now, just based off those bigger time frame levels, you know, you already have a lot of information here. You know, I can already almost say I'm done, you know, with what's on here. You know, this looks like a lot. Let me make it a little cleaner. But now I know that tomorrow, regardless if I start here, if I start here, if I start here, if I start here, I know what plan I have going. You know, if I start in between this area, I'm going to be looking above 432.60s. I don't see why not. I got opening price from previous day to look forward to and the previous day high, as well as the bigger time frame level. So vice versa, no matter what direction I start in, I'm going to be looking good for a trade plan going into tomorrow's pre-market stream. So make sure you guys are here during my pre-market stream. We'll be using these exact same levels again tomorrow, but you'll see me add them to a list. So I have a bunch of levels to the bottom side. Let's keep adding a little bit more above, you know, because we don't want to just be biased. And you can see we have all those levels there. Where am I at again? 424s. And I'll leave that one alone because it's pretty close to the 431. And you can see we're already kind of clustering this area. So tons of levels, tons of really good information there. And again, what you're doing, yes, is it's going to be clustered on the bigger time frame. But when you're trading on that smaller time frame, you're going to be very, very happy that you have all this information sitting here, being able to trust the process. Again, please check out the previous streams, the previous playlist on my channel to see the information we're talking about here. But we love sticking and really trusting our levels. We will trade to and fro. It doesn't matter up and down, and that's why it's really easy to not be biased, because you'll have a plan for up and down no matter where we start, no matter where we close. So that's the really awesome thing about this system. So we already kind of have the fib information here, showing us the low, the high of the current range, the control point, the golden pocket breaking. And again, just for a more clear view, you can see it here on the daily, a little bit easier to see. You can see clear support here. Even if there is a bounce, the bears are going to need to take this level here to take things lower, right? So in my opinion, both sides really do have conviction. They just kind of both need time. Same thing was right here. You know, when bulls were kind of pushing here but didn't make that new high, you know, it really kind of gave everyone a decision. Did bulls want to gap up and try to take things higher? No, they didn't even want to go fill this gap here. There's a gap here that didn't fill yet. Just like there's a gap down here that they ended up filling. You know, so there's definitely going to be some buyer reaction in my opinion, but you're not going to see a trend change anytime soon for either side. I genuinely do believe you're going to have some sort of consolidation, just like we had here, before getting a bigger move down or up. So remind yourself of that. Zoom back out to the bigger time frame and remind yourself, what are we looking at? But let's go back to the 4 hour. I want to zoom back over here to the right and get some levels going. Oh, and like I said, to make it easier on myself, let's zoom this over to the left so I can remember where to look. So I can remember the bottom of my ranges here, kind of where we're at. We had resistance there, but we broke under is right there. So I'm going to be mainly focused on the range between here and here. Zoom in a little. See, we got kind of a high level close right here above that, which you can leave that if you really want to. I'm going to mark it just for the point of it. And again, marking the next high close right there, emerging candle 323.80. Got a good common resistance here before price continues higher. Keep zooming on over, making it easier for ourselves. Got a pretty good one here at 330 where they closed and then continued lower from. So very, very good resistance there. Keep on zooming over. Again, you see I'm going left to right, just like in a book when you're reading. You don't go randomly right to left or, all over the place. You want to go left to right. Focused on that one. I'll go ahead and mark that because it's close. And it looks like it's it, actually. We'll leave it at that. Auto zoom back out. Go over to the right and see, oh wow, I have a ton of levels to focus on now tomorrow. So whenever the market opens, lower or higher, I'm not freaking out. I'm actually looking at effective levels ready to go. So I can make a plan. Now let's continue to do so. So regardless of market direction, and I think that's everyone's problem, is people always want to aim a certain direction without actually knowing what to look for. It doesn't matter if the market continues lower. It doesn't matter if we hold support and continue higher. What are you going to be looking at? That's what people overlook. Is that they're not looking at effective levels. They're not giving themselves that confidence that most people do give themselves when they're looking at their levels like that. So regardless of you using an indicator, whatever strategy, you need to give it some confidence, really. And the only way you can do that is by back testing it, reviewing it over and over and over, posting some charts prior, looking at them while they're happening, and then afterwards when the market's cold and not moving because it's closed, look at it again, review. Well, how did the price action move to and fro, bouncing in between those levels? Remind yourself what happened in between them. It's really easy to do so. Go down to the 5-minute if you want to. That chart that I had at the beginning of the stream, I was basically pointing out a really good plan if we were at open of Friday. As you had the PMH here with a really, really good strong golden pocket resistance right above. So a really good clear scalp target if buyers would have showed up at all at open, which they didn't. We ended up getting one fake, and not really a fake. I didn't really push anything. A lower high from there, 1, 2, and then what would have been a really good spot for just a common low. Again, our normal BB system, we're just looking for a pre-market low break. That ends up breaking there. We end up getting a retest. They show their retest again, showing that bears still have control by retaking it and making that new low here. So just a couple opportunities here, but you wouldn't be able to see all of this if you didn't plan from the bigger time frame down. You can't go backwards. But let's go on to the next tickers. I'm going to have a couple to go through. So I was going to do the Dow, but I'm just going to look at it and show you guys basically what we're looking at. And I think this one's the most interesting one. As you guys notice, SPY had already broken its golden pocket. NASDAQ had already broken its area right here. So I think what's interesting is that the Dow hasn't, and that's sitting right on top of it. So we need to watch some Dow stocks in a really easy way. Again, you can go to the Analyze tab. You can look this up on Google. Just look up Dow top holdings, go find some charts, and let's post them in chat. In Post Charts channel, drop me one Dow ticker with the TA routine on it with the plan. Show me what you guys are looking at. But the Dow is a great sector to look at going into this next week. But some of the tickers I'm going to be looking at are Apple, which you guys are used to seeing. Let me just back it out. Apple. We're going to go through NVIDIA. We're going to go through NIO. We're going to go through Walgreens. And we're going to go through Net. Once we go through all those, we'll be done. We can go through a couple tickers together afterwards. So if you guys have some tickers to look at, save them for the end. We'll try and go through some of them. But overall, let's get through some of these. Let's start with the beginning. We'll go with Apple. So Apple's always one of my favorites because it is the king of the market. It weighs the most. It is always going to be where we look for direction. Even if the market is breaking lower or is at support, you're still going to want to go look at very heavy weights like Apple, Microsoft, just to see are they also doing the same. So especially when confirming with NASDAQ, you need to go look at Apple and Microsoft. But let's again go to the 4-hour. A really cool starting point, again, if you want to, is giving yourself just a range. So if you want to just remind yourself, okay, I need to focus between here and here, then do that. Go to the 4-hour, focus on every single level in between. Which you can see on the 4-hour as well, but I like to remind people on the daily because it is kind of hard to see sometimes. So again, I'm going to just zoom in here. I'm going to get a main resistance before that peak. Because there are some pretty good levels here before it ends up moving. Yeah, about right there. So 157. And you can see the high of this chart. We got it at about 182s. So I'm kind of focused on everything in between here. But I'm mainly focused on this lower part because you can see we are closer to the lower part of that. And again, like I said on the other charts, if it really does help you, grab that golden pocket. That is a really slept on strategy. It's just grabbing this simple fib, reminding yourself where are we. And you can see Apple's actually sitting perfectly on top of it. If you go from the meat of the low to the meat of the high, they came back up, perfectly gave that double top, broke this recent low here. rejected from it, continued from it, and it even made a lower high from this level. Again, here as well, you can see they kind of hammered back up, or shooting star, sorry. They end up coming back down into the control point and this recent low, and now they're sitting on top of a golden pocket. So I would say that needs to be a top watch for anybody looking at tech this week. If you're looking at tech this week, you need to be paying attention to Apple's, what is this? 160.50 to the 161.50, a pretty good dollar range of do not mess with, do not trade inside of range for Apple, a very big, heavy, important ticker on the market. So now we know what to look for on this bad boy. And I haven't even got to dive deeper yet on the chart. We've basically just gone through some simple stuff. But let's add some more levels now that we've gotten past all that info. 158, why not? 160.70. There's a pretty good resistance in between right there. Zoom on over. Marking this high's close. Marking this high. Nothing in between. And we'll stop right there. I don't need to go to the very top of the chart. We know Apple's not at 175. But it's still very nice to get every level we possibly can. You can see the price is kind of bouncing in and out of my levels. Kind of staircasing down, staircasing up. Even when it's range trading, it's sitting inside. So let's go to the 5 minute and just kind of look at it. And you can see from Thursday to Friday, kind of had a support catch there. Where they broke lower was that same support. Here's that control point. And here's them hitting that next level from the bigger time frame. Again, at any time, you could ask me, what's that 163.90, Bueller? I could go, all right, let's look at it. Let's see, where did I get that from? I don't remember exactly. Let's go look at it. And you can see, I can go straight to it and go, oh, wow, okay, it's an emerging candle from, what am I looking at? From November of last year. Actually, I'm a little off. Go right there. But you can see, 164. At any time, you could ask me, where are we looking at that level? Where is that from? Where is this? This isn't just from La La Land or Narnia. Where are you getting this from? So remind yourself, give yourself that confidence. And again, the routine. Do you remember what levels to grab on certain charts? It really should not be that hard for you to chart Apple or Nvidia. That's why I do them every week. They're very simple charts to look at. But overall, now we know what range to look at tomorrow for Apple. So let's say they start under this. What are we going to look for, chat? We want to look for either a continuation with rising sellers, or we're going to want to see this retest move. If we can get the retest move, whoops. Come on. If we can get the break under and get the retest move, showing that sellers do have control under the 160.50s, this will lead to the sell-off. Pending, of course, we break that whatever low they stop at. But overall, you have multiple confirmations regardless of what direction we go in. So now we know what to look for, right? So Apple, completely done. We don't have to really continue messing with this. Going into the market in the morning, who all knows? And let me know in the YouTube comments. What are the levels we look for each morning? The smaller time frame levels. When we're talking about the BB system, what are the levels we're looking at? Let us know in the comment sections. What are the levels I'm going to grab in the morning? That's the only other levels I might need to add tomorrow, which you can see some of them are already kind of done for me. Let's go to the next chart while y'all let me know those levels. Nvidia, awesome semiconductor, super strong, super awesome company. I love the options chain for this stock. It's very liquid. It's not hard to get in and out of a play. And yep, you guys are right. Al's over here saying pre-market high, the pre-market low. Those are awesome levels we look at. Steven's saying open and close a previous day, plus that same day's open. So tomorrow, whatever opening price is, another great pivot point to look at. Previous day open, low, open, high, low, close, PMH, PML. Yes, exactly. All three of you guys correct. Thank you guys for dropping that down. And again, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go to the Bueller Buys or BB System playlist on the channel. But let's dive into this next one. Again, you can start on the daily if you want. Get your range. Just kind of make it easier on yourself. You can kind of see we're down here at like 193s. So you're going to want to start pretty low in this NVIDIA chart. I'm just going to get this just for a good point to grab from. And I can see the top of our current range is about right here. So I'm going to go zoom in over here and see what's our highest high. You can see it's way up here at 229.60. So I'm going to kind of focus on this range here for now. Again, if you really want to, you can go grab that low to the high, but it really doesn't matter on a stock like this because you can see they've already broken well under the control point, the golden pocket, the 100% retracement. That is what this is considered when it pulls all the way back down. So again, you don't really have to leave that on there if you don't want to, but I would definitely leave on this low right here. Whoops. This low right here. This is the lowest price ever closed. Price never closed lower than that until the other day. Past few days. They ended up breaking under it. They didn't even go back up and retest it all the way. They just kept simmering off with the market. So you can see, you have tickers way up here on Apple. You have the Dow sitting up here. But then you have semiconductors down here. So you do have parts of the market in different positionings on their chart. So make sure to pay attention to that. But let's focus on some of these important levels again. So again, if you really want to grab this level, you can. But you don't have to start this low. I was just starting this low to give everyone a really good example. If you had to mark every level, this is what it would look like. You can see every level I'm focused on is always a high of a close. It's never a low of a candle or an inside of the range trade when I'm going left to right. I don't have to worry about that as much. Almost skipped one. A really cool strat to do whenever you see a really big candle like that. You can always go and cheat and grab yourself. It's just a fancy way of saying the halfway point of that candle. Again, if you really want to as well, you can go over to the far right and remind yourself where is this in comparison. Because you probably do have this on another level. And you can see we did just break this the other day. So that would have been a very effective level to trade from. But we don't have to leave that. But again, I am going to leave it because that range was kind of wide. So I want to give myself a level in between there. Let's back out. Let's un-yellow it. Don't need to keep it yellow. Let's get a couple more levels to the top side, and then we should be done with NVIDIA. Again, it is going to be a very messy chart when you're looking at the 4-hour or the daily. It's going to be very hard to look at. But when you're sitting on that 5-minute or the 3-minute and you're trying to day trade, you're going to be very happy that you have all these levels prepared for you. That's why I always say go back and make sure to review. What did price actually do with these levels? You can see I can go back to Thursday of last week. I can see after price failed to break PMH, broke PML, you know, the simple small level stuff. What did it do with the other bigger time frame levels? And it never just ignores them. It does use them almost every single time. No, you're not going to see it perfectly every time, but it is very cool to just go back and navigate. You can see what did price do here. It didn't just break the level. It had volume from candle to candle, showing accumulation of sellers breaking a new support. What did they do after that? They failed to even get up to the halfway point of this important candle. They didn't even break the 9 EMA, and they never even came back up above the 21040s that they were so desperately trying to hold on top of. You see, they failed to even get back above. They rejected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles in a row after breaking under. What did they do after pushing lower? What did they do after pushing lower? You can see this did not make a new low significantly. They didn't have rising volume, so not really that good of a push, but the buyers really didn't step in either, so nothing really taking away from that or invalidating that drop down. And then what happens after? Another rise in volume from that level. So again, just reviewing the levels. What did they go to after that? They made their way to that next one. You know, so just pretty cool that you can go back and review levels that are literally from the last year. I mean, I can go tell you where all these levels are from. Most of these levels, all of these levels are from the midway point of 2021 towards the end of 2021. You know, so price history matters more than anything, trust me. So in the morning, make sure to pay attention when I'm adding NVIDIA to the watch list, but you'll see me add these levels again. I might even take some off. I might just kind of focus on what's there, but now I know, regardless of where price starts tomorrow, let's say it starts here. Whoops. Let's say it starts here. Well, guess what? I'm looking down below 187s. You know, plus my smaller time frame action, or I can look above this range of 190, 160, 190, 260, knowing that I have a good resistance here that buyers can probably break above. You know, there's not a 100% chance, but if I get rising volume above, it's giving me a good probability that buyers want to try and take it higher. So you guys will see me adding NVIDIA to the watch list tomorrow. And let's keep moving forward. Let's get a couple more done. Fix my time axis because that messes it up every time you use that tool. Neo was the next one. And leave a like if you guys are enjoying the stream so far. It helps out the channel a lot. So Neo is one I want to do just because it's kind of boring to do Tesla every week. I do Apple, NVIDIA, Tesla a lot on the watch list, so I was just thinking I'd switch up one of them. this week. So Tesla being it, I'll just do Nvidia or NEO. Sorry. So NEO also being affected by the Chinese market. So you're going to want to make sure to pay attention to KWEB. No, it's not directly connected to KWEB, but at the same time, it does heavily affect it. So make sure to pay attention to KWEB when you're watching any Chinese ticker, especially the private sector. BABA, JD. BABA is going to be heavily affected by that KWEB. So whenever you play those, make sure to pay attention to that and not SPY as much. A lot of people are always like, well, how come BABA's not following SPY? Well, it's not just an American stock. It's on the Chinese market. It's mainly Chinese. So you're going to definitely want to pay attention to that and the correct ETF, the correct index. Honest mistake. We all do it. So you can see the 4-hour trick's not going to work out for NEO. I can't back it out enough, right? Without editing and ruining my time frame, right? So let's go out to the daily time frame where this strategy is originating from. So again, start with the clear common resistance that's underneath current price, so we can give ourselves a bottom of our range. And the same thing to the top side. So I can see price is about 17s. What's over here? I got a pretty strong resistance right here that's above it. I got another one up here. So we'll just start with this one, and we'll work our way in between that range. So again, zoom in just so you can get it as close as you can to the correct level, because they are going to be a little bit off being on the daily time frame zoomed in like this. But as you can see, a lot more clear of a picture compared to the 4-hour, huh? It's not as hard to look at. So as you can see, I'm focused on the close of the highs. I don't really care about the highs. I don't really care about the red reset candles. These are also good levels, secondary levels if you like to grab them, seeing reset candles sit on support. But again, you don't need to grab those all the time. And again, move over to the far left. Sorry, I've already made my mark on that side of the chart. Grab these candles. You can see I've probably filled up a good part of my range now between that 17 or that 7 and that 28. Yeah, we have filled up a really good portion of it now. Zoom in a little bit more. We'll get that one. Again, just grab it. I see there's a huge range there. I want to go get the halfway point of that. I'm not doing anything fancy. We're just grabbing a halfway point of a range. Very effective. You can see we have a very huge range between 15 and 17. So what can we do about that? One thing we can do is go to the 4-hour and give ourselves a little bit of play here, because there is a huge gap range here. So you're going to want to keep this highlighted. I would definitely just keep it between the extended hours of that level here, about 1690s, and then about here, about 1510s. So really big gap range, $1.80 on NEO. Really huge move there. So definitely want to pay attention to whatever support this is going to be. I would not grab this. A lot of people make the mistake of grabbing the extended hours low. You got to remember, there's not a lot of volume here in extended hours. You're going to want to focus on whatever other level is right there. So I would focus on 1615. Very strong close. If you also want to, extend this to the left and see what's on the daily. See what's over there. So what did I just extend? 1702. Okay, I was just making sure. Yeah, 1702 lines up way down here, pretty close to that one. So just reminding myself where it is in comparison to everything. Going down to the smaller time frame, and again, going into tomorrow, just like you guys said in the comment section, we are going to be watching those smaller time frame levels. So seeing this, we got NEO above this level to watch. We can watch above the previous day close. We got a couple levels over here I haven't messed with yet. Actually, that's pretty cool. This day's open and this day's high are kind of in the same area. So I would say a very strong resistance is right here at 1830, 1835 area. So going into tomorrow, I'm not going to be freaking out like half the market will be. I will have 100% confidence in my levels, knowing that no matter where I start, I have a plan ready to go. And again, you can see there's a huge range between 18 and 20. If you really want to go find something in between there, you can go to the 30-minute. Again, though, there is definitely going to be a level there on the daily. What'd I say? 18 and 20s. $18 and $20. You can see there's a huge range there, and not really a clear resistance. Maybe one right here at $19.25. But again, if you really wanted to just make it easier on yourself, go to that control point method, and you can see it lines up with what I about found anyway. So we'll go ahead and leave that. Auto zoom back out. You see that range is not so big anymore. So again, not just leaving ourselves out to dry in case, let's say we want to enter calls here. You don't want to say it's just going straight to 2050. That's just, no, that's not going to happen. You want to set some passive levels as well for when you're going to play targets. So whenever you're in a trade, don't have a $50 target away. It's just highly unlikely. Have a very close target, have a good moderate target, have a farther target. So therefore, when you're playing just 1, 2, 3, multiple contracts, you can actually take them to those targets with confidence. Again, scale out a few at a time. Let's go to the next one though. WBA. And let me know, guys, if I'm doing okay, if I'm going too fast, if the descriptions are making sense. You can see WBA is going to be kind of a messy one as well, kind of like NEO, because it has so much price history. You can see the more I back out, the more price history I'm getting, right? And a couple weeks ago, I was showing the stream how we could grab levels from, where was it? Right here. From the year 2000, and they actually would help you on this chart in the year 2022. It's pretty crazy. So let's just grab a couple fun ones to grab. We won't leave them up. We'll just kind of grab them and show the example. And you can see doing the same method, just grabbing this far out price history. Again, the year was October 24th, 2000, so 22 years ago. You can see just a couple random emerging candles. Let's see one here, 2, 3, 4, and it also kind of lines up with this over here. Very nice, no new high. Auto zoom back out. Maybe grab a couple more because you can see we're right at that one. So let's try and grab a couple above, 46.50, and this one is from 2005, March of 2005. So let's go back to current pricing just to see how effective is this. You can see it actually does go down, hit as support. When it does pull up as resistance, it has to retest as support. So you can see it is utilizing our levels very effectively, not just from here, not just from 2000, 2005, but in 2022 as well. So pretty cool to see, which I'm not going to leave those up. I just wanted to show that, to show the example of why we use these levels. So let me clear that. I'm not going to leave those up, of course. Go out to the maximum daily. So the reason I'm not sticking with this is I don't like the volume as much as I do when you go over to here. Yeah, on the very last rally they had. So I'm going to be focused more on this one than I am that previous one. $45. Mark a couple levels above, and then we'll do the same going below. Again, I see a big range. I really don't feel like going back and trying to find the most perfect level, so I'm going to just give myself a break. Go to that halfway point. Again, just to remind myself that everything did line up. We can plan around everything. Go back to that far right to your chart again where current price is, and remind yourself, where is everything? What happened? Review the price action left to right. Be thorough with it. If it means talking out loud to yourself, please do so. It helps a lot. Go down to the smaller time frames and remind yourself, what happened here? So now we know, no matter what, I can plan for up, down, it doesn't matter. And we can also add on the smaller time frame levels. Again, that previous day open, that previous day close, which actually lines up with the previous day low. So that's a perfect level right there at 45.50. And that's pretty much all I have to add for tomorrow's smaller time frame levels, besides maybe the pre-market low, maybe the pre-market high, depending where they end up at. But I have a lot of levels to go off here. And if I don't like how tight certain ranges are, guess what, guys? Don't try to force it. Just don't play it yet. Wait till the more passive level breaks. Again, if you don't want to wait and trade inside of the range, wait till it's outside of the range. Don't force anything. It's up to you to be in control of that, not the chart. And then the last one, before we take a couple requests, let's go to NET. Cloudflare. So you can see, we can start on the daily if we want to. Go to the 4 hour if you want. Just kind of back things up again. Again, it really is kind of personal preference on if you want to use the daily or the 4 hour. But do remember, they are going to be off a little bit with levels. So if you and your friend are trying to compare and you're on the daily and your friend's on the 4 hour, you are going to be a little bit off. Because the levels that you're grabbing from are going to be a little bit moved. So let's grab the bottom of the range here. Pretty good levels are 85 and 86. $91, $93.50. I see there's a pretty big size range here between 86 and that 91. Let's go ahead and just do that lazy halfway point. I say lazy just because it is super easy. It's really not hard. Once you get your other two effective levels that have reasoning, this level is just basically grabbing the middle of it. It's really not ruining anything. You're not really having to try super hard for it, and it's giving you an excellent amount of information right there. So again, I'm just kind of auto zooming back out, and I'm focused on what's above. So got a pretty big resistance right here at about 96.70. You can see we have a big range between here. What can I do? I can do the lazy control point. I can try to find a common level. I'm going to just stick with the common level because I do see this day's open was this day's kind of reset point, kind of that candle's halfway. But also this candle's resistance before this next day got to push above it, and also use this level as a target as well as a continuation. So we're able to kind of just pinpoint that basically just because we see it between the range, and it's commonly used day after day after day. So I'm going to leave that level there for net. If you want to add the control point, up to you. Again, it's personal preference. There's only a couple things you really can kind of mess around with on this system, that being one of them. If you see an effective level there, grab it. If you see a halfway point between two effective levels, grab it. It really is up to you. I think I'm going to stick there. You can see we're well above current price. We've got a ton of levels here, so again, it looks messy. It's so hard to look at. But again, when you're looking at this time frame, you're not going to be complaining. See heavy resistance over here on net. They use this level again before rejecting, and then adding on to your smaller time frames, your days open. Whoops, back it out again. Your previous day low. You can see not only did they use a previous day open to the previous day low for a trade, they also ended up using it here again where they still rejected under. So now we know 96.70s is a really, really big pivot point for net in the short term, as well as, honestly, this whole little range right here. I would say this whole little range is kind of a void area. I would not be in a trade in between this, but we know above this does look better for calls with a very, very heavy pivot point rejection right here at 98.50. So we'll definitely keep that on watch as we look across on net. But again, giving myself full confidence. I'm not sitting here freaking out in the morning whenever the market gaps down or gaps up. I'm able to sit here with full confidence and be ready for a play to the up or the downside, depending on how the market opens. So let's get some ticker requests. Throw me out a couple, and we'll go through one or two, see what we can do. But the whole point of this stream, again, is to show you guys how exactly we go through our lists every night. You guys always ask me, what are those tickers you drop in your channel every night? What does that mean? This is what I'm doing. I'm grabbing these levels in preparation of tomorrow, just as you should be. Therefore, when I have to, get up, or let's say I wake up late, or I'm not really having a good day, or whatever whatever it may be, it's not so heavy on me in the morning. Everything's done for me. I just have to wake up, set on some smaller time frame levels, and I'm good to go. But give me some tickers, guys. What are some tickers you guys would like to see broken down? CRM? Let's go through that. CRM is a great one to look at right now. Another one to look at during this market is CRWD. I definitely would be looking at that in times of just, people will say kangaroo. Basically what they're saying is we're just in a very crazy market. So you want to look at weird stocks that don't normally relate to things, or cybersecurity. There's a lot of cool sectors emerging right now, so make sure to look around for that too. Let's start with Salesforce, though, and you can see 4 hour kind of screwy there. Instantly being able to spot this because you're just kind of looking at the price action, but instantly you can kind of see there's a very heavy common resistance right where my cursor is. So we're going to start about right there. Couple wompy levels in between. Since I don't want to go over to the right and grab a level that makes sense in between, let's just grab us a lazy control point. See, it kind of lines up with that rejection. You had buyer get above, reset sit on top of, but also not push new high. Sandwich candle. My chat knows this better than anyone. This candle's basically telling us nothing. It's basically telling us, yo, wait. This is probably going to come down or go up. You don't know yet. You need to wait for the next piece of information. Next piece of information, you end up getting a lowering volume, but a very strong bearish engulfing that leads into a bear flag continuation. So again, a little bit of price action, just kind of giving you the whole story there. But you got to go candle to candle to know that. You can't just say, oh, I had a bearish engulfing, that's why it fell. No, it's not why it fell. There's a lot more going on there than that. So make sure to talk about the story of the chart when you're looking at your levels. Again, continuing on from left to right like a book. A lot of us like to read our books left to right. You can see sometimes I ignore in between candles. I could grab that, but I'm just going for that main resistance because I know everything in between here is going to be some boring trading. I don't even want to trade any of that, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that next level. So that's why I keep doing that sometimes. You can see, again, very junky over here. It's very hard to see. Got a very big range between 167 and 173.50, so let's go take care of that. What's the cool little easy trick I can do without having to go all the way to the right? Grab us a little lazy halfway point. Remove drawing, auto zoom, and now it's filled. We have an effective level in between without giving us ourselves a too wide of a range. So again, going into tomorrow, if CRM makes the watch list, let's say it starts down here. What's my plan tomorrow? Let's say pre-market's all in between here as well. I'm looking below pre-market in 166.90s. I'm looking above the previous day close, previous day low, 170.20s. There's a ton of really, really good effective levels just right here in the area, no matter where I start tomorrow. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. You guys are planning on both sides. You can see in my chat, we don't really focus on just seeing for bullish setups, just looking for bearish setups. We like to plan for both at all times. Yes, you could be more bullish or more bearish on any chart. That's totally awesome. Again, that's another opinionated thing. But overall, from the base, from the core of your strategy, grabbing your levels, everything you do, you need to be focused on these levels you can get and plan for both sides no matter what. Therefore, if things last second turn bearish, you guys have been seeing that recently, you're not totally freaking out. You can clear everything, clear your positions, and restart. Microsoft, MMM, MCD. Which one should we do, guys? We're only going to do one of them. I don't really want to do Microsoft because we've already done some tech. Not really a fan of MMM. Can maybe do MCD. I love McDonald's options chain, for swings especially. You can see I've done my fair share of charting on it. Let's see what I did to it. If you go out to the daily time frame, you can see I mainly started from these two peaks. I didn't even really care about the information in between, it looked like. But you can see I grabbed that peak there. And then from then on up to about the highs that we must have been at around that time, I just started grabbing everything. And you can see since then we have had a very impressive rally as well as the market has. But MCD has earnings, so I'd be very careful with that. And if guys, you're going to see that a lot going into these next couple weeks. We're hitting earnings seasons again. So if you guys see an icon at the bottom of your screen or you don't know where it is, go on to online, go to bar chart, Google anything, type in the ticker, type in next earnings date, figure out what that is. If you are very close to that earnings date, implied volatility is going to be a lot higher, or it's going to start getting higher as you get closer to that date, making it a lot harder on you to take those trades. So don't let it ruin you. Still go back and visualize, go thoroughly through your chart. But overall, don't jump into a bunch of trades if you know something is about to have earnings or it just had earnings. Let it cool off a little bit, if that makes sense. But as you can see, though, again, not even really having to go back through all those levels again. It kind of already used them as support, and now what are we getting? A really big rejection with accumulation as it's breaking lower. So it's breaking the 9 EMA, the only EMA I really care about short term, as well as rejecting from really good levels. So we're not saying it's going to the floor. We're just saying from this move so far, there's a big chance it wants to go down and test this next level, 248.30s, right? Let's say it opens lower than that. It opens up at 244.50, right? What can we watch? Knowing we're inside of this gap, you're going to want to go see them go down here and touch the bottom of that before buyers step back in to give a reaction. Regardless of what the trend is, you will get a buyer reaction as you approach the bottom of that gap, as you do in most gaps, as you do at most supports. Then you can, again, look for a new play on that. So that's what I'd look for on McDonald's. No new information there. I don't even really have to go back and clear that one. That one's already kind of got it done for us. But really cool to see, though. You can see a bearish engulfing here. You got another couple small bullish or bearish candles here. Nothing really broke the 9 EMA. They ended up holding those levels and our 9. So pretty cool to see, visualizing left to right. Nick Marr said cost. Let's do cost. And yet, look, cost will be a pretty easy one because it's above its recent resistance, so there's not a million levels to go grab right now. But let's start it over. Let's get that one going. So, all right, so before we move on, what are these two candlestick patterns? In Leland, you're not allowed to answer. What is this candlestick pattern? There's a few names for it. And what's this candlestick pattern? This is probably the easiest question someone could ask you candlestick patterns-wise. But real quick in the comment section, let me know. I'll give it a couple moments, and then I'll give my answers, and then we can go complete the cost chart. But let me know, what are these two candlestick patterns? If you're more of a veteran in my chat, please do not answer. Yes, inside bar. Exactly. We have an inside bar and an outside bar. A harami and an engulfing. Just a bunch of fancy names, right? What we're looking at is just short-term bears. What can we look at for continuation? We want to see a break of a recent support, or we want to see a break of the 9 EMA. You can see that happened here. So you can see why they ended up holding it here compared to why they're not on this one. But just pretty cool, again, using basic candlestick patterns to help you give yourself short-term confirmation. If you guys are in my chat, make sure to go to the, and this is probably the most slept on channel. Yeah, this one, pattern trading. Make sure to go over here and start from this one first, just kind of get a view of it. But it's really, really cool how you can chart bigger patterns and stuff, and then go down to the smaller time frames, and you can actually use it for day trading. You know, what was just looked at on the daily, you break down to the cent. You know, to the cent on the smaller time frames. You can actually use them for trading opportunities with very, 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 very high probability. But yes, guys, correct. The first one, harami or inside bar, engulfing or outside bar. Good job. Randy says, I just entered. What are we seeing? Candle patterns? Yeah, I was just basically asking everybody what these patterns were. Just to kind of give them a fun quiz question. I've been talking the whole time, so I thought I'd give a fun one out. Well, we're going to go through cost, though. And Randy, again, please go back to the beginning of the stream or wait till it kind of uploads it as a video to get what we've been talking about. What we've gone through: Apple, Nvidia, Walgreens, Neo, so many other tickers. We talked about McDonald's for a bit, Costco. We talked about SPY, the Qs, Dow. You know, we talked about everything so far. So make sure to go back if you guys did miss anything. And please leave a thumb up on the stream if you guys can. It helps out a lot. But let's back out and let's start Costco over again. So as you can see, pretty clear common resistance here. This is probably going to be our most important level. So if you want to mark that on the daily, you can. I'm going to go to the 4 hour just because I'm already going to be there. So why not? And again, I'm going to mark the highest. Whoops. Mark the highest price ever went. It's not here. It's not here. It's here. Price. The highest price ever went to close, I should clarify, was right here. The highest that the price was closed. So I'm going to leave it there at 567, 75-ish area, and we're going to focus kind of on the top side now. I can see the top of it is about 607, and I'm going to grab some in-between levels. You can see there's kind of one here. I'm going to go a little bit higher. Whoops. Meet of the high of that day right there. Meet of that high is day right there. And not really anything else in between there. Kind of a common resistance here that I can mark. So we'll leave that for if we do go back to the upside. I want to have everything planned regardless of what we're looking at. And then again, I'm going to back this out and do the underneath as well, because you can see I have everything ready for the above side. If price ends up holding, blah, 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 we end up starting higher. I have levels ready to go for tomorrow. Not even counting the smaller price action. Again, you adding the BB system tomorrow, I'm going to add that previous day open, that previous day low, the previous day close, all that great stuff. Wherever PMH, PML end up tomorrow morning, we'll end up adding that as well. But let's back out to the 4 hour again, and let's get some levels going here. Just going to start wherever I want, really. 1, 2, 3, 4 emerging candles, 5 emerging candles. Zoom on over. Nothing really new to mark here. And what's that rule we can use? If I see a range but I don't see a clear level, I can go grab that lazy halfway point. Again, don't let the 50% control point confuse you. It's just a fancy way of saying halfway. Golden pocket is just a fancy way of saying between the blank blank percentages. Again, don't let those scare you. Learn about them again, and that's another great thing about our server. If you go down, I guess I should say, not up. Go down to the volume and fibs channel. My boy JBake has an entire section on this, volume and fibs. We have a quiz on this in the keys channel. I'm sorry, not keys, bootcamp channel. If you go over here, we have quizzes on this stuff. Very awesome. You can see fibs edition, keys. We have tons of information in this channel, not on just fibs, but on market information overall. And a lot of these charts use information from Fibonacci. We end up just using those basic levels. Let me back it back out. So you can see I have a bunch of levels planned to the bottom, a bunch of levels planned to the top side. If you go down to the smaller time frame, it's going to help you out a lot. Go to the day. So you can see, regardless of Costco starting here, regardless of Costco starting here, here, it doesn't matter. I have a plan for if price needs to rally, if in case market's bullish tomorrow morning, or afternoon, lunchtime, whatever, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, doesn't matter if it's even tomorrow. We could range trade all day. Or they start under. I have a plan for the downside. Plan if they want to go back up. You know, there's always more to look at. And again, over time, you know, you might just see this as, oh, I'm just adding a bunch of levels to my chart, and this is just good for day trading. Now you're thinking small. Don't do that. This is just good for day trading. But overall, you end up combining this with the BB system. You end up combining everything we look at when we look at swing trades with our candlestick patterns. You're going to be getting a sense of direction, and over time, you'll start seeing yourself using less and less of these levels. You'll start just using the main levels. You won't be using all the in-betweens. If you noticed, I've been grabbing every level in between. If you really were serious about this, you wouldn't be grabbing every single one of these levels. You'd be focused on just the shoulders, just the important levels, right? But overall, this is a great place to start with everything, the small stuff. So that's why I say visualize, backtest, thoroughly go back and review left to right. What did price do with my levels? Again, do that over and over. None of us get good just one time. You got to do it over time. Let's do one more ticker, and then we'll call it a stream. Someone give me one more. You can't say Tesla. And of course somebody says Tesla. Nobody has a ticker we want to do? No extra? We've gone through a pretty good amount of them. We've gone through, again, let me remind myself. We've gone through SPY, QQQ, Dow, Apple, Nvidia, NEO, Walgreens, NET. We also talked about cost. Talked about McDonald's a little bit without recharting it. We talked about CRM, CRWD, went through a couple of those. Nike, IWM, Twitter, Facebook. The only reason I don't want to do Facebook is because it's also just like looking at, actually, Facebook's pretty good too. I have Facebook done already, so I don't want to rechart it is why I'm kind of against it. I did it, I think, last week, but it doesn't really need to be redone. As you can see, it kind of has all the recent price action. What I really have to go back and do now is get what's underneath. But as you can see, we're about to approach earnings, so you don't really want to keep Facebook on your watch list to maybe trade, but definitely keep it on watch just to watch, because it's definitely going to be an amazing stock to see just move left and right and learn from. Again, visualizing. Don't think of this as just an enter-exit point of view. Nike, could maybe do Nike. Nike's always junk when I do it with the TA routine, so what I like to do is just do it with previous, like recent price action. If you go over to here, like on Walgreens, it was kind of doable. Here on Nike, it's very hard because it chops a lot. It has a lot of range trading. It's like Amazon, and it makes sense. They're in the discretionary sector together. Discretionary stocks have an annoying amount of range trading in them. So what I like to do when I chart them is just go to the 4 hour and focus on recent price action. So let's do Nike. We'll do the low, do the recent high. And we'll just kind of focus on everything on that first left side. You can see the second left side, the second rally kind of had a level a little bit higher right here at about 128. Had a level here at about 133.50. 136.80s, and that's already almost everything we need just from recent price action, which is kind of crazy to think about. Maybe add that recent low just because it's uncovered. 2-day 5-minute. So now I see I have a pretty big range there. If I really wanted to, I could grab that halfway point like you guys saw me grabbing on all the other charts. So I end up having that level in between, and now I'm ready to go for Nike. And again, I really like Nike because their chain is also super liquid. It's not Tesla, it's not Amazon, but it is in the discretionary sector, XLY. So if you want a secondary thing to kind of watch it with, watch XLY alongside NKE. IWM, I'm not really big on small caps. Again, though, and you can see I kind of did it last week. You can see, like on Nike, I don't really like the amount of choppiness or the range trading or just the ugly chart, you know. So just again, if you want to make it easier on yourself, focus on that recent price action like you saw me do on Nike, and it should give you just about everything you need. But let's do last one, like Rimraf said. Let's do it on JPM, a financial, something we haven't really covered a whole lot. Which we have covered financials a lot, but JPM itself we have not. As you can see, they've been having a very rough time alongside the market. So we'll do one last one. Ooh, making it easy on us too, letting us have the 4 hour. So we'll grab that first level there. I kind of raised this one a little bit, seeing that there was another common resistance here. And honestly, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days like that, and then you look back and you had extended hours range like that. You need to move that level up just a little bit, like I did there. So it kind of helps you out. Zoom on over. Another support, or resistance, sorry, another emerging candle. I don't like that range. I don't like how big it is. If I want to go over here and add the halfway point, I can. If I don't want to do that method, if I really do want to have a for sure level, and I don't like that, I can always go back over to the far right and see if I can find anything from recent price action as well. And you can see I just about have everything I need now. I don't even really need to keep adding these higher levels up now. So regardless tomorrow of how JPM starts, I'm ready to go. If it breaks 125.90, if it breaks 124.80, if we end up holding all this, holding above the previous day close, again, not just visualizing the bigger time frame levels, but again, visualizing the smaller time frame levels as well. You can see previous day closes right here. Previous day opens right here. And you got kind of a small little range here, but again, we're not focused on that. We're focused on the BB system. You got your previous day high, previous day low, which is also your open and close. So pretty big candle for that one, for bears at least. So again, if we see them break over, we're not just focused on the 127. We want to also see what kind of control do they hold here. Can they get over this recent hump? You know, there's just basic stuff like that. Again, looking at your recent price action. Recent price action is a super awesome tool if you're combining it with price history. Again, using that TA routine to help you out. So please leave a like on the stream, guys. I think I'm going to end it here. We did a really good job covering a wide variety of tickers, breaking down exactly what we're looking for and why when you're going through the TA routine at least. So you will see these tickers on the daily watch list across the next week. Make sure to go back on the stream if you guys missed anything. And again, please leave a like on the stream. I'll see you guys next or in the stream tomorrow morning. So make sure to be here in the morning.